flash in the pan with me.
Oh, sorry. I just had to start recording. I got too excited and forgot to press the button. So you married her really young.
Yeah, well, it was a blind date. It was a blind date. Yeah, it was. Yeah, a mate of mine, we got a night off, and a mate of mine said, well, we're near Coventry. I know there's a girl there that I know. Do you fancy coming with me and we'll have a blind date? Well, I mean, I said, yeah, why not? I had no money or anything like that. I mean, I had not three number one hits. I had 3 hits, right, in the charts by then. And she didn't know who I was. And I had no money. So it was a good meeting. As soon as I saw her, I thought, wow, she's beautiful.
And is she still beautiful today?
She is. Of course she is. She's as beautiful as I am. It's a shame you get older, you know?
Yes, it is. Although it does have its upside, though, doesn't it? I mean, the wisdom that you get, at least you know you're more wise. Your children and your grandchildren don't think anything of it, but at least you know yourself a bit better.
And yeah, just a bit. I did well. You know, you can't wish that you have like another 30 years left, you know, because that's just a bit too much. But now, you know, I do it a day at a time. You know, it's but you get yourself into something when you've actually not even looking forward to ever doing anything again. But you know, as you said before, that when I left the Hollies, I stopped hitting the high notes. You know, so my voice was wavering even when I was on stage, and people began to notice. So I had a discussion with the boys previously to that, and they said, well, let's see how it goes for the next 3 months. And it didn't get any better. But I was doing a concert in the north of England when I got a phone call from my wife saying that she'd just been diagnosed again with a second cancer, and she was, you know, I wanted to get home straight away, which I tried to do, but it took me 3 hours to get there. She was interested in a bad way, quite, you know, normally would be like that, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
But we went through it, and so I decided then that, okay, now boys, I'm going. That's it. I'm going to look after my wife and see. We didn't know how long we were going to have that, you know, together. So we just did a silly thing. After Jenny had been through the treatments that she had, we decided to go abroad, and we bought a place in South Carolina, in Hilton Head Island, it's called, and it's beautiful. It's not like America at all. There are no billboards. There are no night lights. It's like a sanctuary for animals and things. We bought a little ranch house by the side of a lagoon. And we used to go there as often as we liked, really. So even then, we were living our lives a day at a time. But when we'd been there 6 years and actually nothing was happening, we thought, well, we better get home and start living. You know, so that's what we did. We came home, and about that time again, 2 of our children decided to have children again. But we'd already got like two 20-year-old grandchildren, but then these little things came along. So we had our hands full all that time, helping, you know, our son, because his wife had left. So we were there as parents and grandparents, and while Tim was going out and doing his job like he should have done. And it was great because, you know, when you do it the second time round, you know what to do. You know what I mean? You really know what to do. You don't let them get away with anything. So we've grown up with our grandchildren. We're all mates, and it's fine.
Oh, and now nice.
Now I'm doing this. You know, it's crazy.
Allan, tell me, Allan Clarke, tell me what year it was that you left the Hollies then, and Jenny was diagnosed with cancer.
1999.
Right.
1999. Yeah, and funnily enough, my daughter was diagnosed with cancer about 6 years ago, and she's fine. You know, she's great. She's lovely. She's coming out of it. And I was diagnosed with cancer 4 years ago. But I'm all right as well. So we've had our fair share of this thing, but it's
Wow.
all gone. We're all happy.
So what's the family secret to beating all this?
I have no other than ignoring it and just getting on with your life. You know, we all help each other. You know, even our youngest grandchildren help us in their own little way. You know, it's just great. I have a wonderful life. You know, it's great. It's lovely.
You said something a little earlier about living it one day at a time. I wonder if that's a bit of the secret to the success of it all too, though, because they all talk about, you know, don't live in yesterday, don't live in tomorrow, take it one day at a time. And you seem to have been doing that for quite a while.
Yeah, well, you know, when you get close to death, you know, what you think is going to be anyway, you do have to sort of reflect on what you're going to do with the time that you may only have left. But you know, you don't, it starts, it gets into your blood that thinking, yeah, I'm going to live a day at a time. Now, many years ago, I think it was about 19. When was it? Got to get this right. 1979. I gave up drinking. You know, I thought it's about end now. You've had enough of that. It's not doing you any good. So, you know, you better get on your bike and do something properly. So from 1979, I've been completely sober. And with doing that, I've met a lot of people that I mix with, all quite like I was and they were. And we talk to each other about, you know, the things that made us do this and do that. And they helped me a great deal in a way that I was helping them in the same way.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful way of thinking that, you know, you do only have one day to live at a time.
Yeah.
So it's less stressful. You know, you still have a lot of things thrown at you, which you've got to compete with. But all in all, it's been fine.
Well, sorry.
I would just wish everybody had it, you know.
Well, I think the advice that you give out there is really, really good for a lot of people listening and watching this on YouTube, because if Allan Clarke is saying take one day at a time and keep your attitude positive, then a lot of people will probably take that up. I'm astounded by how many fans you still have today after so many years of doing this. It just blows me away. I put one little clip of Long Tall Woman after having a chat with Roger Cook onto my Facebook, and it's gone viral. Thousands and thousands and thousands of people coming in saying, we love Allan Clarke. Where is he? What's he doing?
Well, I'm talking to you at this particular moment, but, you know, I've been trying to get Graham to do something for a long time. Well, when I say a long time, I've known Graham 76 years. And for 40 of those, I've been trying to get him to do an album with me again. And we both said yes, and he's agreed. And then something comes along, and another year goes by, then another year goes by. And it was about 5 years ago that I presented to him with a Lifetime Achievement Award for the, now they call it Americana now, don't they? Country and Western. It's all for the being who he is and what he did with, you know, with Crosby, Stills, Nash, and sometimes Young. And I actually he didn't know that I was going to be there to present it to him, and it was quite emotional. It was really quite emotional that, you know, me and him were stood on the stage with our arms around each other, you know, and going, what's happening, you know? And it was, I think that broke it broke the chain, you know, in a way that we both looked at each other and said, we better do something, and let's do it soon. And I was working at that particular time on making my first album, which was Resurgence, which I was just doing for a bit of fun. You know, I got onto my PC, and it had a little thing at the bottom which is called GarageBand, which I never looked at. You know, I just thought, oh well, what do you do with that? And I started writing lyrics when I was going through having the radiotherapy and all that. I started writing lyrics out, And everybody kept saying, well, why don't you put it to music? Well, not being able to get up there, anymore, I thought, well, I'll try it a bit deeper, So what I've been doing now recently is that I've been trying to stretch myself just a little bit higher each time that I record something. But then it comes to a part where you can't get past it. So then I go, okay, that's my range. I'm going to keep it between that, and I'm going to see if I can write some songs. And I did for Resurgence, never thinking it was going to go anywhere. I have a friend in Los Angeles, Sol Davis, whose wife is Carla Olson, who's quite a famous singer in her own right over there. And he's been trying to get me to record a record for the past 20 years. Ever since I left the Hollies, been saying, come over to Los Angeles, let's do some stuff. No, I said, no, I'm not doing it. I thought that was it. My being in the limelight is over and done with. And then this thing with Graham, and me writing these songs, sending them to him, and him going, hey, wow, these are great. Not thinking, okay, well, they're great, so what? They're a good song.
So, had you lost your confidence because of the loss of range in your voice? You thought that your singing career was over?
It wasn't losing confidence. It was actually losing your voice. All those songs, like Here and Heavy, and even Long Cold Woman is pretty high. And the Air That I Breathe, and all the other stuff that I used to do with the Hollies, which was very high. Ron Richards, our producer, used to push us, even in Graham's time, to get that sound that Graham and I had together, the whole sound. And I think that you may have stretched my voice just a little bit too much, because when you get to a certain age, and so I recorded Ian Heavy in the Air, and was it The Air That I Breathe was about 1974, right?
Sorry.
So
I'll just get rid of this. Oh my God.
What was it? Your phone?
Oh, it's a guy called Tony King, who was in Badfinger, who's currently in the UK, and I'll just kill this WhatsApp, who tends to call me at all hours. I apologize for that. I've killed it now on the computer.
I do that.
I'm talking to you. He wants to bring his super group here to Australia and wants me to help him. Anyway, that's not my...
He must think that you can do that.
So I don't know what he thinks. He's the most gung-ho sort of guy. He's just always on it. And in the 2 years I've been speaking to him, I can't see that he's met with very much success yet. I told him I'm not a promoter. I'm just a lowly little interviewer with my own little show. But he keeps...
What are you doing, Nora? I'd have a go at that. Have a go. Ooh. You must know people in the business. You must know producers and things like that.
Yeah. I do. But I mean, with the world economy, like he's got this super group with one guy from Jefferson Starship and one guy from the Romantics and one guy from here. I mean, it's like a big band, and that's an expensive tour to bring to Australia. Anyway,
Too many. I think too many. Yeah,
too many. Yeah, that's right. And he's so accommodating. Oh, and I love this one, and this one should come. And Ginger Gilmore is part of it, David Gilmore's ex-wife, and this one and that one. And it's like, Tony, it's just grown out of proportion here. He's very excitable and enthusiastic. Anyway.
Sure. He's got to have very deep pockets for something like that.
He doesn't. That's exactly right. He doesn't. So he keeps talking and he keeps trying. I don't know where he keeps pulling the fortitude from to keep going, because nothing ever happens. I don't know. No. Anyway, I think BMG have brought him, not BMG, Sony have brought him to London at the moment to talk about something. So anyway, I wish him all the very best, but I can't really help.
Well, tell him I wish him all the best as well next time.
Oh, I will definitely tell him that. He'll be very happy to hear that, as long as he doesn't ask for you. Well, I haven't got your phone number anyway, but yeah, so he would love to hear that for sure. So sorry, where were we? In terms of you said losing your confidence. So you said, Graham, you were pushed to reach those high notes, and it might have stretched the voice a little bit much.
When I recorded, as I was going to say, The Air That I Breathe in 1974, that was a long time ago. When you think about doing 40 years on stage, singing that song virtually, well, the whole process of doing a show on stage, half hours, and you forget that you're getting older as you do that. And it happens to a lot of people. And when that happens, sometimes they try to fool themselves that they can still do it. So they have something else brought in to make it feel better for you. And I didn't really want to go through all that. When your voice is gone, it's gone. Don't pretend. So I thought, no. But anyway, my wife got cancer, and that sort of made my mind just,
yeah. But how was that for you to accept? Were you okay with that decision? I mean, and I suppose the voice being a muscle is like any other muscle that you wear out, that you use so much, you wear it out to some extent.
Well, when you put it in a predicament, it's not a predicament. When something like that happens in your life, you have to think about what is the most important thing to you at that particular time. And at that particular time, my wife is more important than me being in a band. So that was easy.
So, so her sickness, if one can go that far, it was a bit of a salvation for you also, because it made your decision really easy.
Well, I made that. It's easy, isn't it? When you think that the woman that you love may die within the next 5 years or whatever.
Yeah.
So you have to do something about that. It's just not having your wife that has the cancer. It's a family thing. It just doesn't affect the husband. It affects the children. It affects the grandchildren. It's like a pool of people that one thing affects. So you have to put as much as you can in making them feel safe. Same with your wife. Yeah. I mean, there was nothing wrong with me. All I had to do was to be there and be strong.
Yeah. Did she try and convince you otherwise, or she was obviously happy to have you?
Oh no, she's a fighter. She's a fighter. Yeah. I mean, I do remember when she was going through the chemotherapy, when her hair started falling out. And I said, don't worry about that, love. You can get a wig, put the wig on, your hair will grow back. And it did. Life turned out to be good. Yeah, and you can't, that's the best experience I ever had or go through. I would rather it not work that way, but it did, and it worked out all.
But did she agree to you giving up the singing and coming to help her? Did she try and convince you to stay where you were at?
Listen, when you've been on the road for 40 years and your wife is waiting for you to come home after you do, of course, no, she was saying, that's really good, that's great. But she knew that I would give that up to be with her for whatever.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, she must have been. She's been an incredible wife to stand by you, as you say, 40 years on the road. That wouldn't have been easy as a wife and a mother and a grandmother.
Now, let me tell you, it wasn't all the time that good. There were moments within everybody's life where there's a disagreement, or there's failure and there's success. But I mean, we were the kind of people that thought, well, we're not going to let that get us down. We'll see both of us through whatever we have to do. So, no, I'm not perfect at all.
You seem pretty perfect to me, Allan Clarke. Very.
One of the songs that's on the album that I think you like is called "The Presence of You," and then it's about Jenny. And there's another track about singing about myself, which is maybe the next time. Then maybe the next time I'll get things even right to a point where I'll know where I'm going to go, who I am. But I've not got to that point yet, because I know that I've not been perfect in this lifetime. So all the things that I've learned, if I ever have the experience of coming back, or if I'm allowed to come back, then maybe I'll know it better next time, and that'll make me get to where I belong. All those
I love your attitude. So let's just go back to Graham for a minute, because you tried to convince him for years to do an album with you. Why did you want to do it so much with your school boyfriend?
I've known him that long, right? We were like, I mean, I was really, really sad and let down when he left for the first time. You know, I mean, I was pretty devastated that he was going to leave his best mate, you know, after we'd been through all that to get where we were. Um, but Graham, you know, he was always the more ambitious guy in the group, and I was always the lead singer. Now, when you got someone to compete with, I mean, I was pretty good at what I did without really having to do it. You know, it wasn't hard for me to sing like that. But with Graham having to sing harmony most of the time, I can imagine it being in the back of his mind that he wanted to be a lead singer as well.
Mm.
Well, when you've got me tagged onto you, it's not an easy thing to do. But what happened with Graham was he took it the way where he wanted to record an album, and it was called Butterfly, which he wrote his own songs on that, and he sang the songs and did the harmonies on the songs, thinking that that was going to be the way that we would progress with him.
Uh-huh.
Well, I mean, there's no way I could progress with that because it means I put myself out of a job. You know, I mean, so it was difficult for both of us. And when we went to America for the first time, no, we've been to America a lot, but Los Angeles was the place where Graham actually fell in love with David Crosby and Stephen Stills. By them, we were playing at the Whiskey A Go Go in Los Angeles, and it was the first time we played there. Everybody was there, you know. There were the Beach Boys, there were the Monkees, there was Mamas and the Papas. There were a lot of groups wanted to come and see us live, and we killed it. You know, it was great. It was lovely. Everybody loved us and wanted to be, you know, in our, you know, how do you do it, things like that.
Yeah.
And I do remember going back to the hotel with Graham and David Crosby and Stephen Stills, and we were in our I won't call it a suite. It was called the Beverly Comstock, and it was a twin-bedded room with a seating area, you know. It wasn't a suite. And I got really tired. I said, well, I'll leave you to it. I'm going to go to bed. And the three of them were there playing their guitars and singing. And that was it. That Graham just felt the whole thing. But it took him a year and a half to actually get to the fulfillment of being with the group. And over that year and a half, there were times when I used to question, where's Graham gone? Oh, he's gone up with Mama Cass somewhere, you know, and things like that. Oh, right, okay. You know, so he was less and less in my life in that year and a half. But when I was told in the street by a friend of mine that Graham he was forming a group, and that was it, he was going to leave, that was the first time that I felt, oh, that's what he was doing all that time. Anyway, I digress. And everything was okay.
But it's a super interesting story. I can imagine you would have felt completely betrayed, and especially for the fact that he didn't tell you about it. You heard about it from somebody else too.
Well, he does say that there was a lot of hints on the way, but I didn't see any of them because no. But I think what Graham forgot at that particular time, that I had a family. You know, I had two kids and a wife at that particular time, and you know, I might not have made it without him. You know, he would have left because he was a leader of a kind. You know, so if he left and I couldn't have pulled the group together and get through, then I don't know what my life would have been like by not having how it meant to be, how it was.
Yeah. But
the best thing for me was that Terry Sylvester came along. Say no more.
Yeah, exactly. You didn't hold a grudge though against him. You weren't angry. You didn't destroy the friendship between you, obviously, but it did put a bit of distance between you.
No, it did spoil the friendship for a long, long time. I never forgave him for quite a long time. And it wasn't until about 1984, 1985 that he actually suddenly realized how bad he had been at that particular time. And I could see that he was in an awkward position But anyway, what happened was that I got Terrell Sylvester, and he brought his guitar around to me and he sang, and I thought, this guy is absolutely brilliant. And let's go in the studio and see what we can do. We came out with Sorry Suzanne. It was #2, you know, and then we went on to do Roger Cook. You know, he was like the Gasoline Alley Bread, you know, and all those great songs that we did. Then we did He Ain't Heavy, 1969, and then we did other songs, and then we got into Long Cool Woman, you know, and then we got into The Air That I Breathe, and that's, I think, Graham, I'd just forgotten Graham by then. There was no actually thinking about anything really. Okay, he went, and I'm okay. It's fine, everything's so, you know, we used to meet, and it was nod of the head, how you doing? Well, I'm doing fine, you know, doing fine. But he did say a thing when we actually inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and we were at that particular time we were doing a DV for the American market, so we were each interviewed. And one of the things that he says about when he left the Hollies, he didn't expect us to have 2 #1s. But you know, and he said, "How dare they have that without me?" And he meant it as, you know, how dare they, with a smile on his face. So, you know, it was just great. We both went our separate ways, but we're just as successful as both. So
yeah. Did he ever actually apologize to you for causing that hurt?
No. You
just forgave him and moved on, and now you're buddies again.
It's all old stuff, you know. It's all old stuff.
Yeah.
It met me after the years that I had all those hits after he left. I just smiled.
Good for you, Allan Clarke. Good for you. So, despite all of that, you still wanted to do another album with him before it was too late, and he finally agreed. So this is the result now that we're talking about here, and it's an awesome album.
Well, have you heard it?
Of course I have.
Oh, so you've heard the songs?
Yes, I love the songs. They're very reminiscent of the early stuff. It's like it goes full circle back again. They're so happy and simple and cheerful, I guess is the best way to describe them. Is that what your intention was?
My intention was to write songs around Graham's harmony, because that was the most important thing that I had to think of. I asked him to do that because I wanted to get together and recreate the sound that we had before the day that he left, you know, because it was a good sound. It was the sound that actually made us famous. You know, it was the sound of all the songs that he was on. He was on, I think he was on 20 golden hits. And like, you know, there was Just One Look Through Any Window, Bus Stop, 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 Carry On, Jennifer Eccles. You know, they were all happy, uplifting songs. And Graham got fed up of that. But what I do was to remind people about me and Graham and the way we used to sing. Now, Buddy's Back. Well, yeah, I was going through the album and he said, it's going to be your solo album now. I said, well, you've got to write something. And he said, well, I've got this song about Buddy Holly. Now, he very rarely writes any songs like that. I mean, he's got a way of doing his material now. He's so different from the way that I think. I mean, it's the way that he thinks. And he's quite right in doing this, but that's how he wants his writing to be done a certain way. And that's very important to him, and he's got to be allowed to do that. But he came with this Buddy's Back, which I thought, oh, there he is. There he is. That's great. All right, this is great. And it tells the story of us meeting and listening to Buddy Holly, wanting to be him, buying the guitar, standing in front of a mirror, pretending, and then getting a band and actually going on and doing that sort of stuff. And it's, I thought it was a really good track. So we did it. I think he's actually doing it on his own album. And I'm singing the low harmonies and he's doing the high harmonies. So it's just the two things.
You've swapped it up. So you're telling me that when you were little boys, you were totally enamored with Buddy Holly, and it was Buddy's music
not little boys. I mean, we were 17.
I'll just say that again. So you're telling me that when you were teenagers, you were enamored with Buddy Holly's music, and his music pushed you forward?
Yes, they did. But the guy that was before Buddy Holly was Lonnie Donegan.
Right.
Ronnie Donegan was the guy that came along, and everybody in England wanted to be in a skiffle group.
Yeah.
So everybody went out and bought a guitar, learned 3 records, and started singing Rock Island Line. That's how it all started, really. Rock and roll was just over there in America, and you didn't hear or see very much of all these people that the English guys were copying, like Cliff was being Elvis, Billy Fury was trying to be, Billy Fury was the greatest singer I ever knew. I love Billy Fury, and I met him on a day when he was still Ron Vigili. That was his proper name. And I met him in a theatre where we were doing a talent show, and he came up and he sat next to me because he'd just come from Liverpool, and he was going in for this competition. And he said, "Will you show me how to get home? Tell me where the train station is." I said, "Well, let's get through this and we'll take you up there." Now, the other people that was there as well, there was a group called the Quarrymen. So John Lennon and Paul McCartney were there in this same building, along with the Red Sox skiffle group, who was Freddie and the Dreamers.
Wow,
right?
really?
There was me and Graham, and I don't know what we were then. We must have been, Ricky and Dane Young, because the Everly Brothers come along. And we went on and we sang It's Only Make Believe, and we won it.
Wow, with all that competition.
But it was one of those things. It was awful. We won it, and the prize was to actually play at the Bolton Empire for a night. And when we turned up, it was closed.
It was closed?
Yeah. And this guy did it all the time. He was going around the country and things like that. But anyway, that Ron actually turned out to be Billy Fury. And we did take him back to Manchester, to this train station. And we did put him on a train. And we became very close. Yeah.
How amazing. Allan Clarke, were you always going to be a singer? Or did you start life out, despite your love of music, wanting to enter another profession?
My mum used to take me to the cinema when I was little, and I do remember all the big films like Seven Brides with Seven Brothers and Annie Oakley, Calamity Jane, West Side Story, There's No Business Like Show Business, Old Dame, all those things when they came, and you're sitting there and you're looking up at the screen and you're just mesmerized by all this color and all this fantastic music. And I think that's where I started to love those sort of things. Now, it wasn't in my mind that I wanted to be a singer, but I wished I could have danced like Gene Kelly. I wanted to sing like Howard Keel, that sort of thing. Bless your beautiful heart, that sort of thing. I can remember all the tunes. I remember all the tunes. But it wasn't that I got into. It was just me and Graham just singing whenever people asked us to. So the Salford Lads Club is a big thing in England, and we were members of that. And every year they used to put on a minstrel show. We used to put the stuff on with harmonica, bones clicking away, and that only happened like every now and again. But it wasn't like, we could take this somewhere else. It wasn't like that at all. My brother Frank was the person that actually started the actual me and Graham being who we are now.
How so?
That's my brother did that. We were playing in his front room. I think we were learning Bring a Little Water, Sylvie. And he came in and he said, you should go to one of the clubs and see if they'll put you on. Now, Graham and I were both 14 and, short trousers, 2 guitars. I think one was on with a piece of string. I'm not too sure. But I said, well, why? No, he said, let's go on. The club's called the Devonshire Club. And he took us there, and it was owned by an ex-wrestler. And his nose was all over the place and that sort of thing. And he actually said, okay, boys, the strippers are coming off now. So what we want you to do, he said, go on and do 3 of your songs and we'll see how you go down. So we went on not expecting anything, because the whole club was like a haze of woodbines and the beers and cloth caps and all that sort of it. We did the 3 songs and we ended with Rock Island Line. And at the end of Rock Island Line, we used to go very fast. When you do all that sort of thing, and then stop. There was like silence, and then the crowd just went, whoa. So we thought, oh dear. And when we came off, the guy gave us 10 bob. Now
that would have been a fortune, yeah.
Well, not a fortune, but it was more than I'd seen for Evans Spence or anything like that. And he said, if you want to come back next week, I've got some other clubs that I'd like you to play at. Ah. My brother hadn't have done that. There wouldn't be any Crosby, Stills, Nash Young. There wouldn't be any Hollies. And, so, I really thank my brother for doing that.
Amazing. So it was always the harmony that you and Graham made. That was the special gift that you had together, yeah?
Any song you want to sing, we'll sing it and you'd harmonise. No thought about it. Just do it. You don't have to practice. There's no rehearsals. No, not at all.
Well, so, is that because of the chemistry between the two of you, that you can just fall in with each other like that?
Well, it's like Morecambe and Wise, isn't it? Those 2 guys belong together. It was like, who was it? Jerry Lewis and
Dean Martin.
They had to be together. Abbott and Lou Costello, all those great people. They had a chemistry together, which was there. They didn't have to practice it. It was just there. And that's me and Graham.
Yeah. And you obviously still have that 60 years later, because this latest album, I'll Never Forget, showcases that harmony beautifully.
Yeah. And I wrote those songs specifically for that reason.
Which is your favourite track on there, Allan?
Well, when I play it to the family at first. And of course, everyone picks a different song. But I think the one that means most to me is The Presence of You. And the other one, Shine a Light, because that's what actually happened. I was in the darkness and all of a sudden I was in the light. They're all sort of emotions that I felt in my own life.
So you're saying you were in the darkness and then there was the light. Are you talking about when you actually met her?
No.
You
could say that. I mean, I've never ever thought of all the songs that I've written. Jenny said, "Well, why haven't you written a song for me?" But all my songs were about her. Really, it's just that you have to have a story about someone else other than your wife. You can't say, "Well, Jennifer Eccles." Let's put it that way. She was Jenny. But
let's just talk about Jennifer Eccles for a second, if you don't mind. That was about Jenny, but her name wasn't Eccles. Where did that come? What were you doing there?
That was Graham's first wife. Her maiden name was Eccles. So, we'd recorded a song called King Midas in Reverse, which again was one of Graham's babies. He wanted to do what he wanted to do on it. Ron Richards, our producer at that time, said, "I don't think this song is good enough." And Graham said, "Well, I want to do it." So we gave him his head. And I thought it was pretty good. When we finished it, we used an orchestra, which we never normally used. And I think it came in at number 15 and then went out. So that was not a success as far as we were concerned. And Graham was very disappointed that it hadn't really done better. And we were in Graham's apartment. Graham and Rose is his wife's name, in his apartment. And Jenny was up and I were there. And we had a few drinks. And I think there was something else passed around. And we said, well, let's write a silly song. So Jenny wrote the first 2 lines. Then I came in, then Graham came in. Rose didn't do too much on that one, but we finished the song and we thought, oh, well, that's a really silly song. If you think of it like that, because of the experience you had before, you would think it was a silly song. took it to Ron Richards. He says, great, let's record it. We recorded it and it came in at #2.
Incredible.
That was another point that Graham thought, really, I don't want to be a part of this anymore. Jennifer Records is not where I want to be. And now, all these years later, I completely understand what he was thinking and where he wanted to be.
Yeah.
So that was another starter of the emotion for Graham to.
Right.
So
you're getting jiggy with all of the hints that he was giving you. You can see them now in retrospect.
That's it. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So this latest album, I'll Never Forget, Allan Clarke, seems to be a complete return to those days of the 60s and 70s when life was a whole lot more simple, when all any audience wanted was an uplifting sort of a song. Do you think that the time is right now for that particularly?
Well, I don't know anything else. You know, I'm not going to try and be Ed Sheeran, you know, or I mean, I'm not going to write a song like that and pretend it's going to be from my heart. You know, I'm rock and roll. I've been rock and roll all my life. That's the music that I like and I love. I can sing anything, you know, not anymore, but what I'm singing now is who I am now. And I don't really need those high notes anymore. It's just that the songs that I've written, that they all have meaning. You know, I mean, I know what they mean, but I want other people to put themselves into the lyrics and see what they get out of it. You know, there's a song on it, you didn't like it. You know, have you heard that one? You didn't like it?
Yeah.
But he never finds out what it was. You know, he's wondering why his woman has left, and it must have been something that he did. So the chorus is, you didn't like it. You didn't like it, but I don't know why you didn't like it. So it makes people think about what that thing was. All depends on what's in your mind at the particular time you hear it, you know.
Right. So, and someone listening to it obviously can put their own interpretation onto that.
Yeah.
So,
really.
So what was it in your mind that you didn't like?
I just thought it was funny because, you know, sometimes, you know, in life, in anybody, you know, you'll have a discussion with somebody and they'll say, oh, I don't like that. And I say, well, what do you mean you don't like it? You don't understand why that person doesn't like that particular thing. But, you know, people live by vibrations. Music is a vibration. So if you're not attuned to the vibration of that particular song, you're not going to like it. So the person who really loves it is in that vibe, and they can't understand why the other person doesn't like it.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. I like it.
Yeah.
And Allan, the album cover actually features the guitar that was gifted to you in 2010 by the Buddy Holly Education Foundation. That must be pretty special for you.
Well, it is. I write all my songs on the guitar. It's
wow.
That's it.
And that's, yeah, I see it. Wow.
Yeah, now that's the cover. This is the guitar that's on the cover. So.
And you telling me, that was Buddy Holly's guitar?
No. What he was, this is a copy. They have 25 copies made. One of these frets was on the original Buddy Holly guitar, and I don't know which one it is.
It kind of goes with the song we were just talking about.
But the funny thing, when they gave it to me, and this one's called Peggy Sue Got Married, each one has a different name of the guitar. And when the guy gave it to me, he said, it's Mr. Bradley Sr., who's the head of all this. And he said to me, Allan, he said, I'm going to make your guitar special. I said, why is that? He said, I'm going to have Peggy Sue's wedding ring embedded in the guitar. Now, I mean, the real wedding ring from Peggy Sue.
Really?
In this. I said, no, you can't do that. I said, there's no way that I'm going to have that in my guitar, knowing that I lose lots of things. So I'm definitely not going to take the responsibility of having that genuine thing in my guitar. No, so he's still got it, but he keeps saying to me, go and put it in the guitar. So,
wow. I'm glad to hear you say you lose lots of things. I do too. I wonder if that's a factor of age.
I don't know. I think it's not thinking the right thing at the right time.
Not living in the moment, right?
Moment, yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. Allan, is there anything left on your bucket list, or have you now ticked everything off and have accomplished everything that you set out to in life?
I don't know. I'll have to wait until I wake up in the morning.
That's great. So you never planned out your career. You never, I mean, the only thing that I get from you, the enduring thing was that you've been at Graham for all of this time to do this album with you.
Well, it wasn't like, it's not like I was ringing him up every day, saying, come on. It was like each time that we met and we'd look at each other and I'd know that, Graham's got this American accent now, but when we meet and we're talking together with our respective wives and other friends, I hear his voice suddenly going into the Mancunian type of, oh, don't be stupid, all that sort of thing. And the Americanism goes just for a flash point, and I go, there you are, Graham, there you are, and I see him again, But yeah, we're great together. We're fine. He's got a life there, and I've got a life here.
Yeah. And what a life. If you had it all over again, would you change anything about it?
No, because if I did that, then I wouldn't have any experiences, would I?
No. And it's the experiences that make us who we are, isn't it?
So the experiences that you have in one's life. And you only know that when you get to my age.
And talking of your age, you're about to celebrate a birthday. I believe that will make you 81 years old, if my math is right.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yep. Like everybody, you don't feel 81 at all.
No, well, they say 80 is the new 60.
Oh, thanks. I'll take that. Yeah, great. So that's at least 110.
Good. Well, that's what's happening, isn't it? People are definitely living longer. And you obviously keep yourself in pretty good shape. You look after yourself now.
Well, I did a lot of gym work before I actually had the cancer, and it was after that it took me a long time to get back, but now it's very long walks. I've been told very long walks keep you. But me and my wife, we did Tai Chi for 5 years. We went to teach Tai Chi.
Amazing.
And it's fine. It's good. It's a slow moving thing. Keeps all the body parts in the right places.
Yeah.
So we don't do it anymore, because there's too much happening now. But when things settle down again in another 6 months,
you'll do it again. That's right. Well, you're in the middle of a whole press junket now with the new album, aren't you? And I can imagine very proud of what you've put out, because it really is a sensational album. Do you think we'll see another from you now you're on a roll?
Well, I've got a 10-year contract with BMG, so I don't know. No, it may be. I mean, I do have songs already. I mean, I'm working with a lady. I think I've mentioned it to you. And we've worked together. The same as me and Graham. And she's done a couple of songs that we've worked on together. So we're on our thirds. So you can give songs out. It's great, and when I'll join in on that. Yeah. So, but I don't want to do too much. I do like a relaxed kind of life, and that's what I've got. And sometimes I don't like things that get in the way. They annoy me when there's silly things that get in the way that have to be dealt with. But no, both me and Jen, we're quite happy getting up in the morning and having breakfast, and then wondering, well, what should we do?
Nice.
But at the moment, I'm doing loads of interviews. So at the moment, we can't go out to have lunch, we can't go out to have dinner, because these things are coming up, quick. Do about 6 a day.
Oh, wow.
I'm really enjoying this. It's usually when people come in and they ask you the same questions all the time. When did you meet Graham? Well, what about the Hollies?
I know you can't stand hearing yourself say the same things. I get that. I hope I haven't done that to you.
No, you haven't. This has been really good. I've enjoyed this.
Just final question, Allan Clarke. You've been so generous with your time, and I'm really grateful. If you had to choose one of the Hollies songs that meant the most to you and that we could go out on this show on, which would that be?
Well, I mean, I could mention Here and Heavy because of the message that it has in the way that the world is heading now. I think it's quite a spiritual song that should bring people together, because that's what you're supposed to do. I could say The Air That I Breathe, because it all talks about love in such a way that everything that you need is only the air that you breathe. You don't need anything else because you're surrounded by love. It could be that. But I want to say that this is one of the most unholy songs that I ever did. And I wrote it with Mr. Roger Cook, and it'd be A Long Cool Woman.
I love that song too. And I think Roger Cook is just awesome also.
Yeah, did you speak about that particular track?
Yeah, we did. I think we did.
What story did he tell you?
Oh, I can't recall. I have to listen back to it. I can't remember. You tell me your version.
We got through half a bottle of brandy when we were writing it, and it took us half an hour to write it. And we were just down in, it was just me and him having a bit of fun. But I mean, he started the song off, you know, he had the idea of what it's going to be like. But I always say to him, if it wasn't for my riff at the beginning of that song, it wouldn't be as good as it is. So
you're probably right.
I don't know. I mean, it's something that just happened to me. I played the guitar, I've just played it, you know, and I've had people come up to me. I mean, when we did the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, we had it at the Waldorf Hotel, and the Paul Schaefer was the band that played with everybody on those things, and he's a brilliant band. And he has a couple of guitarists. Well, we were doing Long Cool Woman, and I was petrified because I didn't know what was going to come out of here because I hadn't sung again. And Graham said, "Don't worry about it." And I was about to start it. The guitarist went, "Hold it." I said, "What?" He said, "How do you play that riff?" He said, "Because there's something in there we can't play." And I thought, oh, have a bit of fun here. So I went down. He said, hang on. What was that note there you played? So it's like when I pull a string, and it goes, yeah, that sort of thing. And he went, "Oh, is that what it is?" I said, "There, you wouldn't have known."
And did you? Oh, cool.
I don't know where he came from. I really
Incredible.
don't.
And did you have a suite at the Waldorf when you were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Graham actually, in one of his interviews, said that he put us up at the Waldorf, you know, and he didn't, because it was the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and everybody is given, it's free when you go. They put you in a suite, and it's free. You don't, but they pay for the flights. You go there and you sing, and you get inducted. No, so I put that right.
Thank you for straightening that out.
I put Allan up for the Ritz, you know, it's just not true.
Yeah. Allan Clarke, fabulous chatting with you. I'm so grateful to you for being so generous with your time. What awesome stories you tell, and what an exceptional person you are, apart from being a brilliant musician and singer.
Well, yeah.
And very humble as well. Thank you for your time. Just before I let you go, would you mind doing just a little ID for me, saying, "Hi, I'm Allan Clarke from the Hollies. You are listening to A Breath of Fresh Air with Sandy Kay."
Hi, I'm Allan Clarke. Hang on. Hi, my name's Allan Clarke, and I used to sing with the Hollies, but now you're listening to A Breath of Fresh Air with Sandy.
Thank you. That's brilliant. Allan, what a pleasure chatting with you. I wish you a very happy birthday for the 5th of April, and much joy and lots of continued love and success everywhere.
Well, I'll hope. Let's put it that way.
You're awesome.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you. Congrats on the record, Allan. It's a doozy.
Thank you.
Bye now. Bye.